Hi, my name's Joe and this is Beyond Ghibli, a video series that aims to prove there's more to Japanese animation than Studio Ghibli. Today I'll be looking at Miss Hokusai, one of the most recent films I've featured on this channel thus far, and perhaps one of the best. Miss Hokusai is another fantastic film from Production IG, an animation studio who I mentioned in my video about yokai. When I was researching films for that piece, I came across Miss Hokusai, but whilst it does indeed have some truly stunning moments featuring yokai, I was so taken by this film I knew I would have to dedicate an entire video to it. Miss Hokusai truly belongs in the pantheon of anime greats. Miss Hokusai focuses on Katsushika Oi, daughter to Japan's most famous artist, Katsushika Hokusai. Whilst you might not know the man by name, you've most certainly seen some of his work, including The Great Wave off Kanagawa, a woodblock print that has become synonymous with Japanese art. Katsushika Hokusai was an incredibly prolific artist, with an estimated 35,000 pieces to his name by the time he died. This number certainly wouldn't be so ludicrously high if it wasn't for his daughter, who worked tirelessly as his production assistant, an uncredited ghost brush, probably producing a sizable chunk of his life's work. Despite taking some artistic liberties, Miss Hokusai is a biopic at heart, and follows Oi through several chapters of her fascinating life. These episodes build an image not only of a strangely endearing father-daughter relationship, but an incredible look at 19th century Tokyo, or Edo as the city was known back then. The Hollywood Reporter derided this formula in the subtitle of its review, but I found this episodic nature absolutely captivating, reminding me of Satoshi Kon's similarly punctuated Millennium Actress. Resulting from adapting a monthly manga, you could argue Miss Hokusai feels disparate, but the jumping timeline better lends itself to painting a broader and more comprehensive picture of Oi's life, and not just one important moment in time. It allows the characters to breathe and evolve at a natural pace, and also enjoys moments that would otherwise become overbearingly focal. The foggy passage of time allows the film strange, seemingly inconsequential moments. The aforementioned yokai scenes couldn't exist in the movie had it been more focused, and the film would have been a worse one for their absence. Despite their disjointed nature, the chapters are tied together with the overarching narratives and relationships of Oi's life, the inexhaustible drive of her father, and the evolution of the city she lives in. There is a wonderful dichotomy at the heart of Miss Hokusai, both within the film and the character of Oi herself. Considering the film is a biopic, what you expect and what you hear are wildly different. Take the film's soundtrack for instance. Half of it is classical and era appropriate, whilst the other half is anything but. Check out this scene, and listen to the way the music completely subverts what your eyes are seeing. Likewise, Oi herself bucks both modern anime tropes and gender norms for women of the time. She shacks up in a rundown hut with her father and his disciples so that she can focus on art instead of living a comfortable life at home with her mother and sister. She's somewhat uncouth and incredibly rough around the edges, and is constantly perplexed by romance and frustrated that her art is suffering because of it. Finally, check out her pout. I was honestly transfixed by her mouth the whole way through this movie, and it's one of the many little things that give Oi such an instantly identifiable character. Her relationship with Onao, her blind sister, is a beautiful centerpiece to both Oi's character and the film at large, and helps tie each story thread together whilst showing off a softer, caring, loving side to Oi. Miss Hokusai's depiction of disability is incredibly earnest and moving, and is undoubtedly the beating heart behind the biographical exterior.
Sora, 橋の下をくぐるぞ.
Hokusai himself is also absolutely captivating to watch. This is a man who got struck by lightning and survived. A man who refused to believe he'd ever peaked. One who thought he would only produce true art if he could live to be 100. He's famous for saying, "All I have done before the age of 70 is not worth bothering with. At 75, I'll have learned something of the pattern of nature, of animals, of plants and trees, birds, fish and insects. When I'm 80, you will see real progress, and at 90, I shall have cut my way deeply into the mystery of life itself. At 100, I shall be a marvellous artist. At 110, everything I create, a dot, a line, will jump to life as never before. Indeed, his best works were produced after he turned 70, and he continued to grow as an artist until he died. If you've watched my video about the similarly prolific Osamu Tezuka, whose last words were a plea to let him draw, you might be thinking he and Hokusai had a lot in common. On his own deathbed, Hokusai lamented, saying, "If heaven had granted me 5 more years, I could have become a real painter." Miss Hokusai is an absolutely captivating ride and a genuinely unique anime film. It's a warm, occasionally haunting biopic of Japan's most famous artist and the brilliant daughter at his side. Thanks for watching, and thank you for all the subs and comments I've received over the last month. It's been wonderfully overwhelming to see such positive feedback. Despite this influx of viewers, I'm still able to reply to most comments I get, so if you have any recommendations or movies you'd like to see covered, let me know. I'm trying to make my video schedule a more regular thing, but as it stands, it's still quite sporadic. So, if you'd like to know exactly when my content drops, hit the subscribe button. If instead you'd rather be notified of when I drop, hit the like button and I'll add you to that mailing list.